Okay, here we got some Stasi state propaganda. Got this article here, and talking about how the public are helping to fight terrorism, which we all know is being used as a way to crush your personal rights. And if you know enough about ISIS, you'll know it's Al Qaeda Mark II, and it was funded by the CIA. So yeah, it's a controlled opposition, basically, is the term. So it says, I'll skip this bit, but it says, so that basically talking about how people are basically reporting people for terrorism, and this is a dangerous thing because this is like what happened in Germany before World War II. There was a lot of reporting of the Jews and stuff, and this is all linked to this targeted individual stuff in a way. So it just says failed public's helping fight terrorism. So what they're trying to do is get people to be snitching on everyone, and that's exactly what they want. So it says here, I'll skip that because it's not really interesting or related to the article, but it says the threat to the UK is at the second highest of 5 possible levels, meaning an attack is highly likely. Mr. Rose said some were passing information to authorities about people behaving unusually in public places, while others were raising concerns about neighbours and friends becoming more extreme. Now that's a very wide label, because what does that mean? Neighbours are getting more extreme. That could mean anything. So, you know, that could mean, like, say you've had a row with your neighbour and they're going to report you to the police for being dangerous. Do you see where I'm coming from? This can be abused. So it says it was really important for authorities to be able to intervene before people's beliefs become too extreme. Do you notice that people's beliefs become too extreme? And also they'll say that, and this is what they'll do, they'll say that believe in you know, that the government should be changed, or, you know, there needs to be things done. They'll call you an extremist, and they're already doing that. They're calling anyone that protests an extremist or a terrorist. Right? And it says here, like, it says it's really important for authorities to be able to intervene before people's beliefs come too extreme. And this is what they'll be doing to get people targeted. They'll say, you know, and I've got these guys with their guns and shit, but you know, they're saying basically they're going to intervene if they think you're becoming too extreme. Now, what does too extreme mean? Does that mean your views are too different? Does that make you a terrorist now? Because that's it's not saying people's beliefs become terrorist. It's saying your beliefs become too extreme. Do you see where I'm coming from and why this is dangerous? And I recently saw a video talking about this. Like it says here, we are drawing people back from a path towards extremism through partnership activity. Even if you take a view that 9% of those people may have it's basically talking about, you know, preventative. You see how it's, I'll read this. It says, the information we receive helps our investigations, intelligence gathering and preventative work, which is probably what they call the targeting, right? They probably see that as preventative work, but it's suppression, because it's not preventing nothing. All it's doing is trying to kill and destroy an individual. Well, I guess that's what they tell the perps, that they're helping to stop a terrorist, paedophile, etc. Yeah. But yeah, it's basically, it's just an example of how it's just another article, how they use the label of terrorism to set a dangerous precedent. Because if you're reporting people for being extreme, that's a huge variation. Like, they could say my views on, I don't know, because I don't believe in government. I don't believe in the government at all. I don't believe in a small group of people telling everyone what they can't do. Does that make me a terrorist now? Because that's quite an extreme view in some people's opinion. But does that make me a terrorist? Do you know what I'm saying? That's how this is a dangerous thing to say. You're reporting people for being extreme. Are we going to be reporting our kids for doing stuff saying they're extreme? Do you know what I mean? And there was a lot of that going. There's a lot of that going on in the UK. I felt like I was being profiled when I was a kid. Somewhat. I had that feeling in the back of my head, like I was being watched and profiled. Probably eventually that's why they put me in this program. Before I was too rebellious or my views didn't fit the theme that they wanted. So they decided to put me in this program. But I don't know. But you make your own mind up on more. But I think this is just an example of the dangerous kind of way that terrorism is being used to basically they're using this to basically point their guns at everyone that they don't like. Because you get accused of being extreme, that's a huge label. Alright, so I'm going to end this video now. I just want you to think about what this means, alright?